Okay, can I just check that we have the connection with Mr. Skylakakis? Is he, here he is, yes, okay, excellent. Can you hear us okay, Minister?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, thank you very much for joining. I know there was a last-minute change for you, that you were going to be here in person, but that had to change at the last minute, so we're very grateful that you've been able to join us virtually. So the way this session is going to work is that all our speakers are going to introduce, I think, for about 5 minutes each, and then we're going to open up to a discussion. So I'm going to hand straight over now to Minister Skylakakis.
Well, thank you for the invitation. Let me start by saying, as a minister responsible both for fiscal policy and for the Recovery and Resilience Fund, this is a period of very high uncertainty, and high uncertainty is what we are essentially dealing. I will start with an example. During the last month, more or less, we had movement of the TTF prices from 330. Today it's something like maybe 170 or something like that. This extreme variability has specific results in terms of fiscal and all the other policies. 172 is the price today, because essentially we have to plan for a GDP that, if the prices of 370 were to be applied instead of the 172, the GDP would be different in Greece by about 4 to 5 percentage points. Just by one and only variable. And this planning and it's obvious that this has tremendous implications for fiscal policy, for any kind of policy. And that's all from only one item in our that influences our budget. So what we are trying to do is to have a policy in Greece that is first of all based on very conservative estimates. So we plan for a realistic worst case scenario rather than a realistic best case scenario. That's one way to deal with it. And second, we don't plan long term, at least not more than we actually have to, because when things are changing so dramatically month by month or week by week, or many times day by day, you only take the decisions that you have to take, and for the period that you have to make these decisions. In spite of this very difficult environment, we keep positive for what is going to happen in the next months and the next years, for three reasons. First, we keep on doing reforms. These were from the beginning the essence of our political platform, and now these reforms are incorporated into the RRF and cannot be taken back unless Greece wants to lose the RRF, which is the highest per GDP RRF in Europe. So the first thing that we have is reforms that we keep doing them, and we will keep doing them as long as we are in government, and if we get our next win in the next elections, that's our platform for the next after the elections as well. The second axis of our policies is we try to implement RRF and the other European programs as fast and as efficiently as possible, and more or less we have managed to do so up till now, both in the subsidies part of the RRF and on the loan part, which is going to be a huge success. We will present the results in a few days. Things are moving very fast there. And the third thing that we try to do is try to move investments as fast as possible, because for us, investment is the key for the future. When we came into government, we had investments as a percentage of GDP, half the European average. Real investments have grown about 30% if you compare what happened before we came in government and the last year that we had, the second half of 21 and the first half of 22. And this is going to grow a lot more in the very near future. This is actually happening as we discuss. And the high rate of investment, together with the RRF and the continuation of reforms, is something that we expect and believe is going to keep us out of the recession if Europe or the West in general goes not only into a slower rate of growth, but into recession in the next year. So we are positive for the future, but this needs a lot of work and continuation of the work to be achieved, this positive attitude. And of course, it's extremely important that political stability will also be maintained, and this is something that, at least in the last polls that we had, seems to be something that we're going to keep, that we have the government party, which is implementing these policies, has a good lead in the polls, and we can be optimistic that political stability will continue in Greece for the next electoral period and after.